Hello and welcome back to the channel. So I hope you've had a fantastic day so far, and the international break is still incredibly boring. So there's a few bits of news that I want to go through today around Liverpool. So there's some news that's coming out about Harvey Elliott, the contract situation regarding Mo Salah, the contract situation regarding Luis Diaz, and Liverpool have finally completed a signing of a certain player that we've been trying to get since, I think, before the whole Zubimendi saga came about. So firstly, though, I want to give an apology. I watched my stream back from yesterday, and I've noticed that the camera quality looks like I'm recording from a potato. So I am trying to get it fixed, but it looks like I may need to get a new camera. So that's something that I want to do. I want to provide really good quality streams and videos, so hopefully you can bear with the poor camera settings for just a little bit longer. So with that being said and out the way, let's just go straight into the Liverpool news. So the first bit of news is regarding Harvey Elliott. So Harvey Elliott went to join up with the England under-21 team, but he has since dropped out of the squad for further medical assessment. So as of this moment in time, we don't actually know to what extent that further medical assessment is. We don't know if there's like an injury, how long he's planning on being out for. The exact issue isn't known yet, but he has left the England under-21 squad, gone back to Liverpool, and he's going to be assessed there. So fingers crossed that there's no long-term problems there. I know Harvey Elliott has only featured for, I believe it's 7 minutes so far this season. I think he came on against Brentford. But I think after the international break, the number of games that we're playing is going to start, really ramping up, and they're going to start coming thick and fast. So I think having a player like Harvey Elliott is available so that we can, rest Szoboszlai a bit. And yeah, I think his injuries probably come at the wrong time. So hopefully he's okay, though. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully he will be absolutely fine. So yeah, fingers crossed for that. The second bit of news coming out is regarding Mo Salah. So as we know, there's been a lot of stories that are coming out recently regarding Salah and his contract. There's been stories and reports. Fabrizio Romano's come out saying that Salah wants to stay, and also Paul Gorst as well. I don't know if anyone watches Red Men TV, but he was on there. But he also said in a report on the Liverpool Echo that Gorst has spoken to numerous sources regarding the Salah's contract situation, and that many of them have indicated that Salah is eager to remain at Anfield beyond the expiry of his current contract at the end of the season. So some of the reasons that Salah's decided to stay is because he wants to get closer to Ian Rush's goal-scoring record for Liverpool. He also wants to break into the top 5 Premier League goal scorers, and also that his family are happy and settled in Liverpool, and that his daughter Maka is seen as one of the city's people in his eyes. So not only do we have the determination from him basically to stay at the club, to continue breaking records for us, not just in terms of breaking Liverpool records, but also in terms of actually breaking Premier League records now, which is fantastic, I do believe. But also in terms of him breaking records for Liverpool, but also the fact that his family is settled in the area as well. So obviously he feels at home, doesn't really want to leave, and that, in my opinion, is all good and it looks positive. So the only thing that seems to be stopping this now is Liverpool, which is a bit not something you want to hear. Obviously, we'd like to know that Liverpool are offering him a contract. But it does seem like from other news sources that Liverpool are planning to start contract negotiations soon. I don't know, like nothing has ever come out with a concrete date. So that when they say like, oh, Liverpool are opening contract negotiations soon, like for me that's kind of obvious. Like his contract expires at the end of the season, but he can agree a contract with another club in January. So that's 3 months away now before he can start talking to other clubs. So we obviously need to start acting, and we need to start acting fast to get that deal done, get it signed, and then basically keep Salah at the club for longer. Unfortunately, though, regarding the contracts of Diaz, Trent, and Virgil, there's no real news that's come out about those. So as far as I know, it's only really Salah's contract that's been spoken about, and that could be a result of Salah's the post-match interview that he gave on Sky. You know, he kind of put it front and center, so that, you know, we're obviously all talking about that now, and that could be one of the reasons why things are starting to ramp up on his behalf. I think the worrying thing is that obviously we know that Virgil also had an interview before where he said about how he hasn't been contacted by the club regarding his contract, and also with regards to Trent. I believe that Trent did come out and say that he didn't want to have his contract negotiations played out in public. He wanted to do it in private out of respect for himself and for the club and everything else. So this whole, the fact that we're not hearing any news about those is both, I suppose, a blessing and a curse, because obviously as fans we want to know that these players are staying, or at least we want to know what the plan is regarding them. You know, if they're not going to stay, what's going to happen? Are we going to look for replacements? You know, so on and so forth. But obviously the Salah situation looks like it could be the one that's going to be concluded quickly. But obviously, without us knowing, with Trent wanting to keep everything private, we don't know whether contract negotiations are currently ongoing with him. I think it's probably fair to assume that they might be. But then, obviously, we don't know anything that's going on with Virgil van Dijk. So, obviously, it's going to have to wait and see. Hopefully, something happens soon. But until then, don't know. The other bit of news. So, one of the stories that we did hear was regarding Luis Diaz. Let me get the story back up. So then, when this updated, this was updated today. So there's been stories coming out that Liverpool are looking to offer a new contract to Luis Diaz, and this is all because of the start he's made to the season. That obviously Arne Slot feels like he's a big part of his plans, and also because of interest from Barcelona and I think PSG as well during the transfer window. Liverpool are looking to offer him a new contract. There was also stories that came out saying that he was earning around £50,000 to £55,000 per week at the club, and Liverpool were going to offer him a pay rise to basically reflect his worth to the squad. So, but then I did see a news article come out saying that actually there's no contract's going to happen, and that he was already on more than the £55,000 per week. Where's the contract that where's the story that I saw? Here we go, found it. Yeah, so this is Anfield reported on Wednesday, so yesterday, that Diaz was in line for a new contract after his impressive start to the season. The Colombian had started all 3 league games under Arne Slot, finding the back of the net 3 times and providing 1 assist. And this means that he's quickly asserting himself as one of the new manager's most important players. Diaz has already broken records this season, which I will look at in a bit to see what records he's actually broken. After a summer full of interest from abroad, it's easy to see why some supporters may want the 27-year-old tied down with a new contract. However, it has now been reported by Paul Gorst that the claims of a new contract for Diaz were wide of the mark. And it also states that the rumour suggesting the winger only earns £55,000 a week, only, have been rubbished, and that Diaz's wages currently reflect his importance to the team. So, depending on what you're looking at, what you're listening to, it actually seems like Luis Diaz is not in line to receive a new contract, which is obviously quite disappointing for him. I also don't know how long his current contract runs. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. 2027. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see why Liverpool would want to offer him a new contract at the moment. Like, he still has another 3 years to run. Why would we look to offer him a new contract? So, yeah, apparently the Luis Diaz contract thing has been rubbished, and we're not actually looking to tie him down to a new contract. So, finally, where is it? I never remember how to spell this guy's name. There we go. So, Liverpool have finally confirmed the signing of Rio Namoha. Obviously, we offered him a contract back during the transfer window. I think it was before the whole Zuba-Mendy saga and all of that lot came out. But we were waiting for papers and everything to be ratified by the Premier League before that deal could be completed. Those papers have now been ratified, and Rio Namoha is now a Liverpool player. So I have looked at a lot of videos, compilations, so on and so forth of Rio Namoha, and I must admit he looks like an exciting, promising talent. He's 16 years old, so he's obviously going to be one for the future. But from what I've seen as well, there's also a lot of Chelsea fans who are disappointed that their club was they were letting him go, like, without putting up such a massive fight to stop him from leaving. So, yeah. So that's obviously good news for us. I'm not expecting us to really hear his name, for a while now, because obviously he's 16 years old. He's going to go into the youth team. He's going to work with the youth coaches and the part of the youth setup, and then eventually he will then find his way, hopefully, into the first team. But obviously that's going to be quite a few years down the road. But it's good that we've actually still looking to pick up young talent and get them into the first team. So that deal for Rio Namoha has now been confirmed and ratified, and he is a Liverpool player. So, with that being said, I think it's still fair to say that the international break is boring. Which is quite disappointing, really. Normally, obviously, when you have the transfer window, which obviously comes with either like the excitement or the disappointment, depending on how the transfer window goes. Disappointment for Liverpool. But it does seem like everything. Obviously, once you have the transfer window, then you start the season. And for us, obviously, with the new manager, with Arne Slot, we kind of want to see how he gets on. We want to see how he plays, how he performs. What styles he's going to do. What's going to be different between how he used to, what we're used to under Klopp, and what we're going to get used to now under Slot. So you have that kind of excitement there. But then, the second game, his first game at Anfield, you're excited for that. You want to see how the Anfield crowd take to him. His first home fixture, there's a lot of excitement there. And then following that, the game against the old enemy. We're playing against Man United. Everything that comes with playing against Man United. We're at Old Trafford. How have Man United improved all their new signings? How is Liverpool going to set up under the new manager and the new style? What's going to happen? And then once that gets out the way, obviously we're all buzzing. Everything's fantastic. It's brilliant being a Liverpool supporter. And then you have this international break. And it's just like, and it's just kind of killed any sort of real momentum that we are kind of used to. So that's disappointing, and I'm still incredibly bored and looking forward to the football coming back at the moment. I want to start getting obviously back into talking tactics, talking match preparation, talking match previews, what I'm expecting from the team, what I'm expecting in upcoming fixtures, and so on and so forth. But we're going to have to wait a little bit, unfortunately, before that happens. So until then, we're going to just keep on looking around for any kind of news that comes out, and then try and just go from there. But as I say, at the moment, because obviously players are on international duty as well, there's not really going to be much news that come out of it. So I feel like we're just kind of waiting to see what happens with Salah and the contract situations. I don't think we're really going to hear anything about Trent. And the reason for that is he said he wanted to keep it all, private. And I think that that's what we'll do. So I think the only thing we're really going to hear about Trent is that he either A, is coming to join us. He is either A, signing a new contract, or I don't think we'll hear much, and time will just slowly tick on and on and on and on and on until we get to January. And then we'll hear that he's accepted the contract offer of a new club, if that's what's going to happen. Obviously, I hope it doesn't. But at the moment, the one that I feel like is kind of a little bit worrying is the Virgil situation. Obviously, I think the Mo Salah situation has kind of been pushed to the forefront because obviously the comments that he made following the Man United game. And I think that, people have started to sort of really take notice to the fact that he's leaving, or at least is in the last year of his contract. And then with the words that he said, whilst I didn't take them for him to be sort of like literal in saying, I'm leaving at the end of the year. Like, I didn't think that that's what he was saying. I thought he was being quite almost factual in the way that he spoke. Like, he's not received any kind of communication from Liverpool. He hasn't signed a new contract, and his contract is expiring at the end of the season. So therefore, the way that he's looked at it is, this is my last year at Liverpool unless I sign a new contract. And I do think that that's what he was saying after the game, not a literal, I'm leaving at the end of the year. So I think that has been taken by a lot of people, and then it's got us worried that he's leaving at the end of the year. Liverpool haven't even spoke to him, and then people are taking that, and obviously, we're getting worried. Obviously losing a player who has started this season on fire, and that's understandable. So when he announced that, obviously all the news and the stories that have come with that, I think it was all part and parcel of what Salah wanted to achieve by saying what he said. I think that was a way of getting the news story out there so that it increases his likelihood of being offered that new contract, which is fair. Obviously, it's a tactic that people can use. But the whole Virgil contract situation has really gone quiet now. And it could mean that perhaps we've already begun negotiations with Virgil. I mean, it is possible that we've already begun negotiations with both Virgil and Trent. And that's the reason why we're not really hearing stories about those two at the moment. But Virgil also came out and said before that Liverpool hadn't spoke to him about a new contract. And then it's all gone quiet on the Virgil front. So I don't know whether we have offered him a new contract. I don't even know if we're planning on offering him a new contract. So I think that's we're at a point now where I would like to see like some movement from the club. Like, we need to start tying down these people. Like, when you have a new manager that's come in and everything is, I think during the transfer window, there was a lot of like negativity around the club. Like, oh, we're not buying these players. We're not, our transfer window's been pretty poor, so on and so forth. And then the season starts and we all have this positivity. Like, oh yeah, everything's going really well. 3 wins out of 3. We haven't even conceded a goal yet. Everything's fantastic. And then the contract situation now is kind of like, we really want to start to see movement on this now to get this sort of shadow from hanging over the club and actually get us to a point where we can just focus on the football. I think that's one thing that we haven't really been able to do yet as Liverpool fans, is like, just focus on the football. Let's just enjoy our football with no problems, no players talking about contracts, no worries of bad transfer windows and so on and so forth. David Crompton. How's it going? Anything new on the contract? It's so quite scary to lose his players. So from what I've seen so far, Paul Gorst from, I believe it's the Liverpool Echo, he has said that Mo Salah wants to stay at Liverpool, basically. He wants to try and get closer to Rush's all-time goal scorer record at Liverpool. And he also wants to get closer to the Premier League. He wants to break into the top 5 Premier League all-time goal scorers as well. Also, he said basically that that he feels at home in Liverpool. His daughter is almost one of the people. His daughter's like an honorary Scouser. So Salah wants to stay, but again, nothing has come out with regards to what Liverpool are planning on doing on that front. I think with regards to Trent, he said that he wanted to do everything in private, so I don't know whether that's good or whether that's bad. It could be one, it could be the other. Like, I think Trent wanting to do it in private means that we're not really going to hear anything up until the point that either A, he signed a contract, obviously then we'll hear the news, or it's going to keep on delaying until the point where he then signs a pre-contract in January with whether it's Real Madrid or not. I don't know. So there's that possibility. And then I was just talking about Van Dijk. Everything seems to have just gone quiet on the Van Dijk front. I think there was a point where Van Dijk had said that he hadn't been offered a new contract, or no one from the club had spoke to him. And then we've just not really heard anything about that, which means one of two things: either A, he's been offered a contract, or B, nothing. Maybe it is a possibility that Van Dijk could leave. So yeah, but the other news is that apparently, according to Paul Gorst, we're not looking to offer Diaz a new contract. So there were stories that were coming out yesterday saying that Liverpool were looking to offer Luis Diaz a new contract, which I thought was a bit weird, considering we have 3 contracts that we do need to resolve, and they're all like within the last 12 months of their contract. I thought it would be incredibly weird to take someone who has, I think, until 2027 left, and then offer him a new contract. I thought that was strange, but it seems like we're not actually looking to offer him a new contract, so I don't know where that's come from. Maybe his dad's been doing the rounds and making up rumours to try and start something, but yeah, that seems like that's not true. Rio Namoha from Chelsea, he has signed. I think the deal was done like way back during the transfer window, but was waiting for the Premier League to do something. And they've now ratified all the papers, so he's now officially a Liverpool player. So he's gone into our academy. And finally, Harvey Elliott has been withdrawn from the England under-21 squad for further medical assessment. So that's the only news really that's coming out of Anfield at the moment, or coming out of Liverpool at the moment. Nothing else really. So yeah, it's all kind of hush-hush. But hopefully with the international break, I don't know if Salah's on international duty, which I will check now. 2-year extension. Oh, he's been in training. Okay, excellent. But apparently there's an Africa Cup of Nations game tomorrow. So that's interesting. To be honest, I thought a 2-year extension was fair. I think I said it in a previous video or live stream that I would only offer him 2 years. But then also keep that option of a third if you wanted to. But yeah, I think if he's willing to accept a 2-year extension, then that's fine. I think the fact that Rami Abbas has come out and said that that's what he wants, I think then we'll probably start to hear some movement about that in the next coming days. If he is at Anfield, or if he is at, in Liverpool training, it wouldn't surprise me if contracts negotiations were starting anytime soon. I find it kind of annoying and a bit weird that all you ever hear from reporters at the moment is Liverpool are planning on starting contract negotiations soon. Well, we have to. There's 3 months left until he can agree a pre-contract somewhere else. So we have to do it soon. But also, why would we plan on starting contract negotiations? Just start them. Surely, in order to start them, all you need to do is go, Rami, what are you looking for? Or Salah, what are you looking for? And then you've just opened the contract negotiations. Why would you plan to start them? But I have seen that stories that it's not just going to be a case of whether it's Richard Hughes or whoever. It's not just going to be those that are involved in it because of the amount that Salah earns, because of the importance to the club, that it will be Hughes, Edwards, and maybe even FSG getting involved to negotiate this. So that could be one of the reasons why it's took so long. So yeah, who knows? But I'd imagine we'd hear more. The news is slowly starting to come out now. So I imagine in the next couple of days we'll find out more about Salah. But I'm a bit surprised that the Virgil stuff's gone quiet. Obviously Trent, with what he said, you wouldn't expect it to be out in the open at the moment. But with Virgil, it just all seems to have gone super quiet. I don't know what's happening. He's either in the midst of negotiating a new contract, or we're just not planning on doing anything at the moment. So that's a bit strange. But yeah, other than that, I think it's fair to say the transfer window is boring. And sorry, not the transfer window. The international break is boring. And I'm still loving the meltdown from all the Man United fans, which is fantastic. But how are you anyway, David? I hope you're doing well and looking forward to the weekend. So let's see if we can find some other news stories that are coming out from Liverpool at the moment, and we can rank them. Apparently, Liverpool's new kit with Adidas has already been leaked. Apparently, it's a goalkeeper kit. I think we can take a look at that. Let's get it up. There we go. Liverpool's new goalkeeper kit. I'll just move my camera. Nope, not the screen. Move me. There we go. I mean, it just looks like a black goalkeeper kit. Nothing to get too excited about there. Unless you're a fan of goalkeeper kits, I suppose. What other news have we got coming out at the moment? Mo Salah reportedly wants to extend Liverpool's stay. Now up to the club. We kind of knew that anyway. Federico Chiesa has joined the Liverpool under-21 squad. Currently training with Liverpool under-21 side as he prepares to regain full fitness during the international break. He stayed on Merseyside during September after Italy accepted the club's request for him to stay. But he wasn't left out then. Liverpool actually requested for him to not join the international team. And he's staying and undertaking a bespoke training program. Not featured in a competitive game since Euro 2024. Frozen out Thiago Motta's Juventus. Okay. There we go. So Chiesa will join the under-21s during the international break. That's good news. I don't care about this. Dunk stream, both of them. Wait and see. The Diaz thing, absolutely believe the stories. I say don't believe a word Diaz is not going to get. I was a goalie for 15 years. Played until retirement. Nice. Dunk stream, both of them, but wait and see. Diaz thing, absolutely believe the stories. Wait, so are you saying that you don't believe that he is being offered a new contract? Or do you think that he is currently being offered a new contract? And wait, so if you was a goalkeeper 15 years and played until retirement, does that mean, like, what level did you play goalkeeper till? That's quite impressive. Yeah, so this is the thing that confused me about the Diaz contract. Like, he already has one until 2027. So that means that, like, he has another 3 years left on his contract. So why would we look to offer him a new one right now? Especially when you consider the 3 big contracts that we need to sign. Like, for me, I would be more wanting to focus on what we need to get done, as opposed to focusing on some, like, you know, yeah, Diaz has had a good opening 3 games, but he still has 3 years left around his contract. So we could wait and see if he can get that consistency. Then I'm all for him being offered a new contract. But as things stand right now, in my opinion, let's sort out Salah, let's sort out Virgil, let's sort out Trent, and then we can start worrying about who else we need to offer contracts to. But yeah, I find it a bit interesting with that one. And I'm also still trying to find out exactly what's happened with Harvey Elliott as well. Obviously, a bit disappointing that he's injured. Obviously, with the games now, they're going to start coming thick and fast when we get back. So if I look at the Liverpool fixtures, I know we've got Forest next. So Forest on the 14th, then on the 17th Milan, 21st Bournemouth, 25th West Ham, 28th September, 28th Wolves, and then the second we have Bologna. Like the games now are gonna start coming like really really fast, and like for example, Forest at home is fine, but then you've got Milan away, you've got Bournemouth, you've got West Ham in the cup. Like these are games where we're gonna start, whilst they may seem easy on paper, you can't really afford to rest or field a weaker team against someone like Bournemouth, for example, because they are quite a tricky team. Like we've seen what they've done so far at the start of the season, what they've done to Everton, but that game comes quite quickly. One more year on top of his current deal. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against Diaz being given a new contract. As I say, I think for me, I'd just like to sort out the ones that are urgent. Like, it's all good and well offering players new contracts, but why is it that we're being so proactive on the Diaz front based on 3 games that he's played at the start of this season, but we've allowed the other 3 players to run their contract down? Like, to me, that's what I find quite weird. It just doesn't really make much sense, and surely we should be looking to tie these players down to longer contracts. Or at least, we should be looking to get these contracts done a lot sooner. I still don't know how to put the message on the screen. I will figure out one day how to put messages up on the screen so that we can see them all. But unfortunately, I don't know how to do it. But yeah, hopefully we hear more about Salah. I think Salah will get done fairly quickly. If I'm being honest, I think what Salah done was actually very clever. Like after the Man United game, with that, the way that he played, with the result, with the atmosphere around the club at that moment, everything was buzzing, and then he decides to drop the whole contract bombshell. Like we should have all known, obviously, that he's got 1 year left. But the way he worded it, I thought was quite clever. Like, I didn't think that when he said it, I didn't think he was saying it as like an absolute, like, I'm leaving at the end of the year. I thought, or at the end of the season, rather. I thought he was basically just being, like, stating the obvious that, like, he's leaving at the end of the club unless he gets offered and agrees a new contract. But the fact that he chose to say it the way he did say it, and the way that, like, where he chose to say it, I think that that's kind of give Liverpool the kick up the backside that they needed to actually start doing this. And obviously we're hearing a lot of stories now. He wants 2 years, he wants to stay, his family's happy, everything's good. Like I think that he's done really, like he's orchestrated this situation very well to get that there. But at the same time, I do think he deserves a new contract, and I would be more than happy for him to sign on for another 2 years. I think it's fairly risk-free. Need to back off and give the current coach the job to work on contracts. So, do you mean that you think that they should just let Arne Slot work on the contracts? Because I think what I find the most weird about the situation now, with regards to Liverpool, is that we've got this whole structure in place whereby it's going to be Edwards that's mainly dealing with the transfers. As far as I know, Hughes has been involved in the summer transfer window, but he's meant to be like director of football or something. Like he's not like just based on Liverpool. I think he also wants to be involved if FSG do buy other clubs, and Hughes is going to be like Liverpool's director of football, if that makes sense. But then we're still constantly like Slots being made to answer questions with regards to signings and contracts and this, that, and the other. But we we know that Slot's not the one in charge of that. We know at the moment it's going to be Hughes. It's probably going to be Edwards as well. I think with regards to Salah, it'll probably be FSG involved in that as well. So I wouldn't be against whenever we have a press conference going forward, let's get Hughes there. Hughes should sit next to Slot, and then every time someone says, what's going on with the Salah contract, then Hughes has to answer it, rather than Slot having to keep on saying things like, I don't talk about contracts, or I don't talk about signings, or whatever it is that he's been saying. Like, let's just get Hughes to answer all the questions. I think that's fair. And let's just let Slot just focus on the football. Like, I do think it's quite bad that, like, from a Liverpool fan point of view, and I assume this goes into the team as well, that, like, obviously we can't just enjoy what's currently happening at the club. Like, obviously we've had the disappointing summer transfer window, which, you know, the transfer window kind of distracted everyone away from the performances that we were having. Was it just the Ipswich game and the Brentford game? And then I think the transfer window closed pre the Man United game. So obviously, whilst we were winning these games against Ipswich and Brentford and things were looking good, we were all still talking about, we need a new number 6, we need this, we need that, we need the other. And then nothing happened, which kind of deflated the fan base. And then we beat Man United. Gravenberch has played really well in his position. Salah's been on fire. Diaz has looked really good. Like, there's no player that I think so far has played particularly badly. But rather than us being able to, like, get really excited about what's currently happening at the club, we're here talking about Salah's contract, we're here talking about Virgil's contract, we're here talking about Trent's contract. Like, for me, it would just be good if we could, like, sort all of this out so we can all just focus on the football. And I think that that also includes Slot as well. Like, Slot shouldn't have to be constantly answering questions about transfer windows and contract negotiations and this, that, and the other. Like, he's been brought in as the head coach. Let him coach. Just let him do that. Let him focus on the football. Let him enjoy the football side of things. And then let the people in the background deal with the contracts. That's what I would do. Unless you wanted Slot to be, you know, more of a hands-on manager like Jurgen Klopp was. Obviously, we all know that Klopp had more power at the club than what Slot's going to get. Unless Slot, you know, goes on to win the Premier League or something, which I don't think is going to happen this season, by the way. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating. It would be nice to be at a point now where we can just look forward to the football once this boring international break is finished. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, no more news to come out of Liverpool. According to This Is Anfield, Mo Salah is desperate to sign for Liverpool and money is not the deciding factor. So, Salah's contract, become hot topic. Paul Gorst has now brought word from multiple sources close to Salah that the forward is desperate to sign a new contract. Salah is thinking of extending his stay as it stands. Wait. Oh, okay, yeah. So, Paul Gorst writes, with Sadio Mane's downturn in fortune since joining the Saudi club Al Nassr, among those that he has weighed up against the financial benefits of heading towards the Middle East. The journalist adds that with Salah earning a basic £350,000 a week at Liverpool, and around £1 million a week, including various endorsements, money won't be the deciding factor for his next move. And that could be key when it comes to negotiating terms with Liverpool, who may be reluctant to hand out a sizable pay increase given his age. So basically, it sounds like it sounds to me like they're looking to, or he's willing to just basically agree a contract on exactly the same terms for 2 years. It's not got all this faffing about they need to sort out the main players, I agree, but he needs to have support by his side to answer questions, not relying on Slot. I've put Liverpool all my life. I agree 100%. I think that he should focus on the football. That's what he's been brought in for. And when it comes to questions such as contract negotiations or anything like that, I don't think that Slot should be the one answering those. I think we should get Hughes or Edwards or whoever it is. They should be there to answer those questions. And then that should be that, in my opinion. It's like with the transfer window, though. Like, when we were looking at Zubamendi, for example, like we all knew that Slot wasn't going to be responsible for the Zubamendi deal. We knew it was going to be Hughes and Edwards and so on and so forth. Yet he was the one who, after any game or in any interview we had, he was there answering questions about it, and it kind of put him on the spot in those moments, because obviously I'm fully aware that he will probably have an input to obviously whoever it's going to be, and I'm fine with that. He should have an input. Obviously, it's his team. But when it comes to negotiating those deals, I don't think it's him. So when it comes to Zubamendi, it was Hughes and Edwards. I think that they went over to Spain to negotiate it. They were talking to Zubamendi's agents and everything else. So therefore, we should ask them the questions and not Slot. Because obviously, I don't know if Slot, like how up to date they keep him, especially if there's no news coming from it. I'm 61. I've never seen any of this before. These owners, FSG, are ruining our club. I'll be honest. I'm not necessarily FSG out, but I'm also not FSG in. I just want whatever's best for the club, and if that means that if FSG are creating situations like this, or if FSG aren't ambitious enough to like really sort of like strengthen the team where it needs strengthening, if they don't want to put money in it because it ruins their valuation of the club and all of this kind of stuff, then I'd be more than happy for FSG to go and leave Liverpool to, in the hands of someone who's ambitious and wants us to succeed. But I think, especially with, so I think the Tchouaméni one. So if I go back in time a little bit, when Tchouaméni goes to Real Madrid, you kind of understand that that's going to happen. Like you can't really blame anyone for him choosing Madrid over Liverpool. I'm okay with that. But it seemed like from the moment we submitted that offer for Caicedo, we stopped being this. I remember it wasn't long ago. Everyone was talking about Liverpool's, our transfer policy, Michael Edwards and everyone else. We were seen in like really high regards as like Liverpool do their transfer business better than anyone. This is the way that football should be done and so on and so forth. Since that Caicedo bid went in, it just feels to me like we've took a massive step backwards now. And, the Caicedo thing, the Lavia thing, the Zubamendi thing, we just seem to be getting embarrassed a lot in transfer windows. And whilst I don't think FSG are directly involved in those transfer things, I think it would have been, what's his name? Schmadke or whatever his name is. I can't remember how to pronounce it. George. Boy George, as Big Dunk calls him. Like he would have been the one to try to offer the deal. When he goes, it's then the responsibility of FSG to bring in the correct football people to do the job on their behalf. Like I don't think for a single second FSG know what they need to know in order to do football related deals and so on and so forth, but they're obviously the ones that are hiring the people to do it. But also it just seems like Edwards has gone backwards as well. Like everyone wanted Edwards at one point because of how good he was, but Liverpool fans now, I feel like we've all just kind of run out of patience. I don't think Hughes is seen in very high regards. And then obviously you get the usual spin. I don't know if you've seen recently, or like the spin that's coming out about Hughes and how everyone's really impressed with him. I don't know how everyone's really impressed with him. All he done was met a valuation for Chiesa that was there since the start of the transfer window, and fannied about with Zubamendi. So I don't know why everyone's impressed with him. I don't really know what he's done. But yeah. What do you think, realistically, we're going to see the back of FSG anytime soon? Or do you think that they're here for the long haul now? Like, I think for me, I can't see them selling up anytime soon. I think they're going to be here for a while, unfortunately. Which obviously I think is bad because I wouldn't mind seeing. I think this season is one of those seasons whereby there's an opportunity for Liverpool to actually challenge for the title if we would have strengthened where we need to strengthen. And that's what I think has been the most frustrating thing about this transfer window. And by that, I think we have a good starting 11. It's more the squad depth that I have the issue with the current club, with the way the team is at the moment. So us not doing anything in the transfer window to address the squad depth issue, for me, is a missed opportunity because we don't know what's going to happen with Man City and their 1-1-5. We've already seen Arsenal have slipped up to Brighton. So there is an opportunity this season that either Liverpool or Arsenal could take over and become could end up, finishing winning the league. And I think that because Arsenal have done better transfer business than Liverpool, they've now moved ahead of us in sort of the pecking order, which I find disappointing. And I'm not surprised if I'm not surprised that a lot of people are now more FSG out. Let's put it that way. Let's see if there's any other news. Any news coming out from the Premier League? Chelsea's 76.5 million hotel sale has been cleared. So Chelsea aren't going to get done for PSR for selling a hotel back to themselves. Chelsea have been cleared by the Premier League for the sale of 2 hotels to assist the company to keep them compliant with profit and sustainability. So I wonder then, if they're going to get in trouble for profit and sustainability, can they sell the hotels again? So they sold the Blues published their accounts in April, revealing the sale of the Millennium and Copthorne hotels next to Stamford Bridge for £76.5 million in an effort to help them avoid a potential £166.4 million loss and reducing their loss to an allowable £89.9 million for the financial year. So apparently you can sell hotels to yourself now to avoid breaking FFP. Well, that's fantastic. And understandably, now Nottingham Forest fans are left stunned by the corrupt Premier League. Has there been anybody else at all tonight? No, not tonight. I did a stream last night and it went quite well. I had quite a few people came on and started talking, so I thought I would do another one tonight, because obviously with the international break, it's just a little bit boring. And what I wanted to do with the channel was more sort of looking at the games. I know Cop Talk. I know Dunk doesn't like it when people talk about the games when you've already watched it. But one of the things I really enjoy doing is breaking down games, looking at the tactics, analysing how things went a certain way. So I was more interested in creating videos around that side of things, but also talking about Liverpool news and so on and so forth. But with the international break, obviously there's nothing really to talk about regarding Liverpool. So I thought if I start some live streams, hopefully people can come and join in. Then we can have conversations about anything and everything around Liverpool, whether it's talking about FSG, the contract situation, if people think we're going to win the league, whatever it's going to be. And yesterday I had a few people on, one from Trinidad and Tobago who was a Liverpool fan, and one who was a Birmingham City fan but liked Arsenal. And we had like and someone else as well who was a Liverpool fan, and we was having like a good chat. So I thought, okay, I'll do another live stream tonight. Hopefully, keep it going. So it's just you and me, unfortunately. But I don't mind. I don't mind doing it. It gives me something to do, I suppose. Also, I'm slowly decorating my room with more stuff. Don't know if you can see my nice Anfield Road Street sign. But I am looking to upgrade certain things as well. Like, I know the camera quality is a bit poor. I don't know why. I've used this camera to like stream games and stuff, and it's been fine. But when it comes to just having me on camera, it seems to be struggling quite a lot. So I am planning on ordering a new camera soon, which will hopefully improve things. Yeah. Maybe I need to start one of those channels where I get other people on and we just start arguing all the time. So ESPN revealed that Premier League have cleared the Blues of the sale of 2 hotels to a sister company. Belief is growing that the Premier League appears to be doing all it can to assist clubs in avoiding punishment for failing to stay within the rules. This comes after both Nottingham Forest and Everton were handed point deductions last summer for their own breaches of profit and sustainability. Since those punishments were delivered, fans have insisted that most clubs in the division are being governed differently from the Big Six, and the latest twist serves as further proof of their claims. So Nottingham Forest are accusing the Premier League of being corrupt. Interesting. I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Two hours ago, from Goodison News, Sean Dyche is under sack pressure as Saudi boss wants the Premier League job after Everton meetings. Yeah, regarding Elliott. So I'll get that news up here. So he's returned to Liverpool after a fitness issue on international duty. So he has dropped out the squad for further medical assessment. But there's no reports yet as to what the actual extent is. So we don't know what the issue is. We don't know to what extent the issue is or anything else like that. So where did it say here? Elliott is one of 4 players to return to their club for further medical assessment, having already reported for international duty. So is Ten Hag. The exact issue is not yet known, but it means Elliott will miss out on a valuable opportunity for minutes and could now be in doubt for Liverpool's return to action. So he's a possible doubt for the Nottingham Forest game. With regards to Ten Hag, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get sacked anytime soon, but I think he could before Christmas, to be honest. But yeah, back to Everton. Al-Shabaab manager Vitor Pereira wants the Premier League job after coming very, very close to taking over at Everton 2 years ago. The Portuguese told Give Me Sport on the 5th of September the near miss in 2022 before Frank Lampard got the job was one of 3 times he's nearly arrived in English football. This doesn't say anything about Sean Dyche. Dyche has been tipped to be the first Premier League managerial casualty over the international break. Discussions over his future have now been held at the club, so Pereira may just be touting interest. So we can start putting bets on now. Who do we think is going to be the first to lose their job? Ten Hag or Dyche? I can't help but think it would be... I think it could be Dyche. 1 hour ago on Liverpool.com. Liverpool faces losing millions thanks to Man City's 115 Premier League charges. Let's face independent commission. Favourite to go behind Dyche. I think Dyche could be the one to go first. I think the start that Everton have had a poor. What are Everton's fixtures actually? Who have they got coming up? I think keep Dyche, get relegated. They've got Villa next. So they have Villa away next, so I can see Villa winning that. Then they have Southampton in the cup. They really are screwed. Villa away, Leicester away, Palace at home, Newcastle at home, Ipswich away. I can see Dyche being sacked by November. I really can. I think they're going to lose to Villa away. The cup I'm not including. Leicester away. I mean, Leicester aren't exactly great, but neither are Everton. Palace at Goodison. I think Palace are quite a tough team. Then Newcastle. I can see Newcastle winning that. And then Ipswich away. I can see Ipswich winning that as well. Dyche to be sacked by November. There you go. My prediction. That's my hot take. So what's this then? Liverpool losing. Liverpool and all other English top tier clubs could face a significant loss of funding once the Premier League's dispute with Man City is resolved. Premier League charge champions 115 charges. Premier League was awarded 1.7 in costs after successfully prosecuting Liverpool's local rivals Everton. Legal resources of the case were equivalent to around 5 months worth. I don't understand any of this. How does it affect Liverpool? Won't this be felt by the league? 20 shareholder clubs are also expected to cough up for the cost, but that expense will ultimately be sliced off the top of broadcast and commercial funds. So basically, in order for the Premier League to charge Man City, they're going to charge all of the clubs in the Premier League to do it. Yo, Kenyenke, how you doing, man? Nice to see you again. Yeah, so in order to charge Man City, the Premier League are charging all the Premier League clubs and then taking it out of our TV broadcast money for next season, I imagine. That's fun. How are you doing, Kenyenke? I hope you're good, man. We're just talking about who we think is going to be the first manager to get sacked. Whether it's going to be Sean Dyche or Eric Ten Hag. Yeah, they really are. I'll get the article up again here. And I will switch my screen over to this one, sorry. There we go. 20 shareholder clubs are expected to cough up for the cost, but the expense will ultimately be sliced off the top of the broadcast and commercial funds traditionally shared among the clubs. This means sides like Liverpool and Everton might see their less cash in their coffers, so we're paying for the Premier League to charge Man City. So that's fun. One of those shitty day naps. You know, whenever I have a nap during the day, I always feel tireder afterwards than before I took the nap. Like, I always wake up feeling, like, groggy. Like, it's weird. But yeah, so Kenyenke, who do you think is going to be the first to get sacked out of Sean Dyche and Eric Ten Hag? For the record, I've said Sean Dyche. So the title City stole from us are not. We're not getting back 2 titles we should have. They're just going to get away with it. Oh, I think that they're not. So what I think is that my room has just got really smoky. So what I think is going to happen is that Man City will get a fine, but they won't like get relegated or anything like that. I think they'll end up getting like a big fine, and then that'll be seen as that damage done. But like I've also seen like a weird story as well, and it's that like, so for example, Daesh, but Maresca. I don't know about Maresca. I think he has a bit of leeway. Because like I think Pochettino didn't start great with Chelsea last season, but they were happy to like keep him going until the end of the season for some reason. So I think Maresca he might get a little bit longer. Ten Hag, I think he's had that dreaded vote of confidence, which you never like it when your manager gets that vote of confidence. Like as a fan, you always kind of think, yeah, I want my board to support the manager. But if the board are having to come out and say, no, we support him, it means that something's going on in the background. So I think Ten Hag could go soon. I think what's the thing that's working for Ten Hag in his favour is like Man U's fixtures. I think, yeah, they've got Southampton next, which I would expect them to win. Followed by Barnsley in the Cup, Palace, and then in Europa League they have 20. Then they have Tottenham. Actually, it could be difficult for them. It could be difficult for them. I just think with the way that Everton are playing at the moment and the fact that they're bottom, I think it probably will be Dyche that goes first. You think Forest will go down as well? As in the Everton's new stadium is banging. I think Everton, though, they've been one of those where they've been flirting with relegation now for a while. And it's like every time they like almost go down, they never improve the next season. They seem to just get worse. So yeah, I can see Everton going down this year. Like I do agree with the idea, like it's good having the derbies, but they're just consistently crap. Content with being complete garbage. Yeah, no, I think you're right. The thing that gets me though now is they seem to get excited by like small things, like Madueke plays well, and now suddenly, like there's always an over exaggeration. It's like Madueke plays well for one game, he's the best right winger in the Premier League, and it's like you've got like a mediocre club at the moment. Like Chelsea aren't good. Like their midfield, like for the amount of money that they've spent on their midfield, they should be 100 times better than what they are. Their striker can't score goals. He's worse than Darwin Núñez in terms of missing chances. He looks like he doesn't know how to control the ball. Neto, I think, was a good signing, but he's very injury prone. Their defense, I don't think their defense looks great. Their keeper looks weak. Hyping up Varane. Oh, I like that one. Chelsea have got their own version of Andre Voronin. Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, I agree with what you're saying. They do seem content with being poor. I'll check out his evening debrief. my normal routine is because I work from home, so I'm quite lucky that I can wake up and then when I get back from taking the dog out, I watch his morning briefing with my coffee. Then I'll start work, tune into his 2 o'clock stream. Then I watch his 7 o'clock stream, and then I try and time my stream with him ending his stream. But the downside is I can't stream too late because I still have to get up early in the mornings. So unfortunately, I've gone for 8, but I might do it a bit later because I don't want to be seen as like streaming at the same time as him. Because I like watching his streams. But yeah, Carefree Lewis. Oh yeah, so yeah, I've seen Carefree Lewis before, but normally you see it on like the Football Terrace and things like that. Like, I know, or at least I think that when people go on to channels like the Football Terrace, there's like this overhyping, and I think it's done like, not necessarily like done on purpose, but it's almost like a little bit exaggerated to try and like create talking points and things like that. And I'm fine with it. I enjoy watching the Football Terrace. I'm not like criticizing them in any way. So, but then you hear like the Chelsea fans, and obviously they beat Wolves like 6-2, but it's not like Wolves are a good club. It's not like they've gone out there and they've just beat Arsenal 6-2. So it's a bit weird. Yeah, there for the energy, exactly. But Kenyenke, have you ever seen Cop Talk TV on YouTube? If you haven't, I highly recommend checking him out. He's actually really good, and he's a good source of Liverpool information as well. Like, he's one of the genuine ones, not one of the clickbait people. So if you haven't checked out Cop Talk TV, I can put a link to his channel actually. Oh, you follow him? Oh, there you go. I won't link it in the channel. But yeah, Dunk's part of my daily routine. So I watch his morning briefing in the morning, like when I get back from taking the dog out, watch his stream, watch the afternoon stream, and try and time mine for when he's finishing his. And then when I go to bed, I will put on his evening debrief, because I like nothing more than the image of Dunk in his dressing gown as I'm going to bed. That sounds a little bit weird. I haven't watched him in a while. Yeah, his live streams are always really good. I like his live streams. Like, I like Dunk, but I like the chat room that he has. Like, not chat room. It's not 1995 on AOL. Meltdown. See, I love watching the meltdown of Man United streamers. I find it really good. From a, as you've said, like, funny side. Like, I like the banter and everything else. What I don't like is the way that, and it only ever seems to be Man United, that whenever Liverpool play, like the 7-0, for example, when we beat them 7-0, when we beat them 5-0 at Old Trafford, this time when we beat them 3-0, the narrative is always that Man U were poor and not that Liverpool were good. Like, I genuinely think that this game, like the latest one, the 3-0, Liverpool were just genuinely streets ahead of them. But the narrative that's come out is Man U are poor, they're in a rebuild, this, that, and the other. Like, and it kind of takes the credit away from us and the way that we've played. But yeah, I like the meltdowns. I find it funny as well the way that the Man United fan base seem to turn against each other. Like, this whole Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out thing. It's like you don't know where to go. Although I will say, I've seen it quite a lot during the January transfer window. The FSG and the FSG outers going at each other, and I didn't like that. We're better than that, Liverpool fans. But yeah, the meltdowns are funny. I quite like watching in their heads Yeah, exactly. It's uh, so how did you end up being a Liverpool fan, but your sons end up being United fans? My sister's other half is a United fan, so I'm seeing him on Saturday, so I should have an opportunity then to give him a bit of a ribbon. But fortunately for me, my family are all Birmingham City fans, apart from me, which is good. Oh, okay, fair enough. And yeah, I completely agree with what you said, Ken Yenke. Like the Man U fans genuinely think if Casemiro doesn't make the mistakes, they win the game. It's like if you don't make those mistakes, we would have found another way to score. Like genuinely. I think Casemiro just gave the ball to us because he knew what was going to happen. He was like, I might as well just, give in to the inevitable. But yeah, the good thing about having a family of Birmingham City fans is obviously they can't criticise anything at the moment because of where they are. Although, so my mum's side of the family, I think they're Villa fans as well. So there is a little bit of banter from time to time, but not really. But yeah, sometimes I find it more entertaining watching the streams from other fan bases than watching the Liverpool fan base. I don't know why. I just find like their streams and their meltdowns and stuff is always quite funny. Wait, you like Anthony? I disagree that I don't think he is quality. I don't like Anthony at all. Apparently, according to stories today, Casemiro was linked with a loan move to, I can't remember if it was Galatasaray or Fenerbahce, but going to Turkey. But apparently that's not happening. Man United have come out and said that they're not interested in loaning him out. So I'm assuming that means they'll have him until at least January. With regards to Anthony, I don't like him. I don't think he's very good. I think at Ajax, like he did look like a good footballer at Ajax, but I think the Premier League's just it's a step too far for him. But it wouldn't surprise me if Anthony was to leave there. I think I like Garnacho. I think Garnacho is actually a really good player for Man U. So I don't know if Anthony would be happy being back up for Garnacho. And the problem that Man U have though is that if they were to sell Anthony now, they wouldn't get anywhere near what they paid for him. So they're always going to be doing it at a loss. Ziyech. Yeah. The thing, I think all of the players though that played for Ten Hag at Ajax looked brilliant. Then when they left, they looked terrible. And I also include Gravenberch in that. Because when he was at Bayern, he didn't look that good. And he was one player that I actually really liked, him and De Ligt. When they were leaving Ajax, I was hoping that Liverpool would go in for both of them. But they didn't look good when they left that Ajax team. And Ziyech was another one when he went to Chelsea. He looked terrible. Anthony looks terrible. Gravenberch at Bayern Munich didn't do anything. De Ligt when he was at Juventus. Is it Juventus that he went to first? But he didn't look great there. And then at Bayern. Van der Beek. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but since they left Ajax, they all had drop-offs in their career. Hopefully Gravenberch is going to pick it back up now. Wants to fight for his place in the team. Really thought that Maguire was going to go to West Ham. I know they were linked with him last year. Were they linked with him again this year as well? Because I remember when they were linked to him last year, I thought that him going to West Ham would actually be a good move for him, because like at Man U, he's just going to fall further and further behind the pecking order. And like, it's all good and well, and you know, saying that you'd like to stay and fight for your place in the team, but when like the fan base is turning on you on a weekly basis, for me, I'd just be like, you know what? If the fans can't even support me, then I just don't want to be here. So I thought that he should have gone last year, and the fact that he stayed was. The fact he stayed for me was a bigger shock, was almost as big a shock as him actually becoming their #1 defender again last season, which was quite funny. But I can see him dropping out of the team now. He's another one who in January he could end up going, but it just depends on, like, Man U seem to have this thing with injuries now. Should have got Bowen. Yeah, I completely agree. Maguire is a bench warmer. I'm unsure of Bowen. I'm not going to lie. I do like Bowen as a player, but I don't know if Bowen could ever be like at the standards of Salah. Like, stupid comment. I don't think he can be at the standards of Salah, obviously, but like, is he really the kind of player that we want to go for to replace Salah at that moment that he does call time on his Liverpool career? I don't know. Like, I do like Bowen, but he just doesn't strike me as a Liverpool player. I think he'll end up being one of those. He's a West Ham fan, I do believe. So I think he'll probably just end up staying at West Ham for his career. Like, isn't he with Danny Dyer's daughter and all this kind of stuff as well? But yeah, Maguire is a bench warmer. 100%. With regards to Rashford, good for Edwards. Bowen's numbers are good for Edwards type of data. Doubt we'll go for him now, though. I don't think we'll go for him, personally. I do like Bowen as a player, but I'm not going to lie. When people were talking about Liverpool finding Salah's replacement and Bowen was mentioned, I felt it was a bit underwhelming. I do like Kudus. I think Kudus is very good. He's a player that I would be interested in signing if we had the opportunity. I think he has the attributes. Like, he reminds me more of a Salah type player than Bowen does. And I do like him. I think, was it against Man City where he had that run and then end up smacking the post? I think he's a good player. I think, me personally, if we were going to bring in someone out of Bowen and Kudus, I'd go for Kudus. But I'll be honest, to replace Salah, like, I really like Nico Williams. And like, I used to live in Spain for a bit, and I still follow Spanish football now. And I've liked Nico Williams for quite a while. So when he had his his big coming of age at the Euros, I wasn't that surprised by it, because I know how good he is. And I would really like to see Liverpool go in for him. I don't know if we would get him. I know he was linked a lot with Barcelona, but I think if we have the opportunity to go for Nico, I think we should. Yeah. That's the problem. Barcelona always find a way to do things financially. I don't know how they... So there's two parts to Barcelona that surprise me. One is how they always manage to do things like, they're like the brokest team in the world, yet they're still signing Dani Olmo for God knows how much money and everything else. So that's always a surprise. But B, like, I don't know why players still want to go there. Spot it, well, there you go. I know that they're looking to do like a long-term Nike partnership, Nike sponsorship as well. So there might be something in that. But I don't know why players still want to go there. Like, don't they owe what's his name? Frankie de Jong. Don't they owe him like a ton of money now? And essentially, until they can pay him back the money, they're giving him like £800,000 a week. Like, it's ridiculous. But the players still want to go there. But yeah, I've heard that Nico is sold on the Barca move, and I think Yamal's one of his best mates. Still owed Busquets. It wouldn't surprise me. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me if they still owed Busquets money. It's a shame because Barcelona's where I used to live. Hence why I've got the Barcelona shirt here. I used to live there, and it's a shame to see like what they've become recently. It comes down to the money situation. If we have it, we get him. But this is FSG who we are dealing with when it comes to players. Yeah, completely agree. I think with Nico Williams as well, I think that his release clause isn't that high, but I'm pretty sure Bilbao give him a very good wage. And I don't think FSG or whoever it is would be looking to break the wage structure to sign him. Watched their academy games when I got into football. De Santos was amazing. Giovanni De Santos, he was like one wonder kid that I always used to sign on Football Manager, or at least tried to sign. It was impossible to sign a Football Manager once. I remember the only way that I could sign Giovanni De Santos on Football Manager was winning the Champions League. Tello, yeah, as well. He was really good. Bojan is like one of the weirdest footballers though. Like imagine playing for Barcelona and ending up at Stoke. Like that transition must have been like so jarring for him. They had a brilliant youth setup. When you think of all the players that came through their youth as well, like Xavi, like Iniesta, like Busquets, like it's insane. Like now they're relying on spending all of this money rather than looking at the talent in their youth. I know they've got Pedri and Gavi, and I think they've got a few more that are coming through this season that look quite good. But yeah, they had a really good youth team. Was it La Mesa? La Masia? One of the two, I can't remember. But yeah, they had a really good youth setup. But going back to you, David, I think if Nico Williams does earn a lot of money, I don't think they offer him a contract anywhere near what he is earning at Bilbao. And I think that that's probably what would put them off going for him. And I think it also applies to Kudus. Doesn't Kudus have a minimum fee? No, he had an £85 million release clause, which expired on June the 30th. And then it becomes active at the end of the season. So an £85 million release clause. For me, I used to watch loads of games. Yeah, Bojan Kurcic, or whatever, however it's spelled. And then, yeah, we got Shaqiri. Shaqiri was one of those players where, like, he was never going to be a starter for us, but he was always reliable when we brought him on. I did like Shaqiri. He was a good player. Don't got time to watch other clubs other than Liverpool. Yeah, so for me, I used to watch a lot of football. I used to watch, obviously, Premier League games. I used to watch Championship games. I do follow Birmingham a bit to see how they're doing, how they're getting on. I used to watch La Liga. I used to watch Bundesliga a bit. Like when I was younger, I said yesterday on the stream, me and my brother used to stay up until like 5 o'clock in the morning on weekends, and we'd watch like Dutch football, Italian football, Argentinian football, all of that kind of stuff. Now, I'm only really focused on watching Liverpool play. But if there's like a good Premier League game and I'm not doing something, I'll put that on. But yeah, I am interested to see how Bajcetic performs at Salzburg. I'm hoping that like with a regular run of games, he can get back to like the potential that he was showing before his injury. So let me know if you're watching Salzburg. Let me know in any streams how he's getting on, if he plays or not. And I do believe as well at Salzburg, we also have the option to buy on, or the first refusal on Bobby Clark. So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. Two of our quality young players who Pep Linders has managed to convince to go and join them. But yeah, Shaqiri's disappointing. Balagzi. Balagizi. Not sure who that is. James Balagizi. Oh, yeah. I'm an idiot. Yeah. In the academy, yeah. The Rio Namoha looks really good. The young lad who we got from Chelsea. I might watch more under 21 games this season. I think I'm over. I think that's what I want to do. His ball control is insane. I liked watching the youth football quality players we let going past. Yeah, completely agree. The Forest striker, can never remember how to pronounce his name. Awani. He came from the Liverpool academy. I think he's good as well. Fabrizio said he's already going to be working with the first team to some degree. Oh, is this with Balagzi? I wouldn't mind it, like, if we did start to use some of our younger players in the first team. Trainioni looked really good. Him and Chiesa training this morning. Yeah, so Chiesa training with the under-21, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't mind players, like the younger players, getting a chance to step up into the first team. I'll be honest, I think we're going to end up needing them. I think we have like a lot of fixtures coming up, and our first team isn't Namoa. Oh, Namoa's going to be working with the first team. I don't know. Like, he's 16, isn't it? I suppose if you're good enough, then age doesn't really matter. But he's 16 years old, and he plays on. Is a wide player, isn't he? Where does he play? He does look really good. Left winger. You could drop Diaz for him. Apparently, he can play left wing. He's predominantly a left winger, but he can play on the right wing, and he can play attacking midfield in the centre as well. We'll see. It'll be interesting if he does play. I suppose it'll mainly be like cup competitions that we'd probably use him in, right? Present and future. I imagine that we'll see him in the cup. Seven Champions League, Carrow and the FA Cup matches. Lots of changes needed. Yep. 100%. Neoni I did like the look of. In pre-season, I thought Neoni looked very good. The only thing I felt sorry for in terms of Neoni was that he hit the first game. Was it Arsenal the first time he played, or did he come on against Betis? But he played in like a central midfield role, and I thought he looked really good there. And then against Man United, he kind of got brought on at like left wing, and I didn't think he looked great in that game. Obviously against Sevilla, he scored that goal. But I thought him in the centre, he looked really good, Neoni. and I thought it'd be interesting to see him play more there. I didn't like him too much at left wing, but Neone and Namoa, yeah, essentially, yeah. But yeah, we got a lot of games coming up, so I can see us definitely needing the full squad, including the youngsters. So if Neone gets cup games this season, Morton. Hey, you know what? Slot wanted to assess the team, and I'm sure that also meant seeing what players can play in what positions. So can Morton play as a false 9? Can Morton be Bobby Firmino? I find the Morton situation weird as well, because they were like willing to sell him. Like, why would you be willing to like sell everyone who can play central midfield whilst also actively looking for a central midfielder? I found that like really weird. Well, we've got a Carabao Cup game coming up, haven't we? Against West Ham. So I imagine that we'll probably see some of the youngsters then. Thought Zubi was done. Yeah. But you should never think it's done until it's done. I know Liverpool far too well. Fakir. Yeah, well, we've got West Ham on the 25th, which comes only a few days after playing. Don't want to. Well, this is it. Like, so I made a video where I spoke about this, and the thing that I didn't understand is that like they've sold off the likes of Clark. They were saying that they would be willing to sell Doak and Morton and players like that, but also not bringing any new players into the club either. So like it almost felt like they were saying like, oh, our first 11 that's all we've got. Like no future prospects that can come into the team now. No new signings that we're going to be bringing into the team now. It's like literally our first team plus the substitutes. That's all we're going to have for the entire season. And obviously we've got players like Trainione and a few others, but then there's a lot of players like Morton that they were saying, oh yeah, we'd let him go. They were saying about Endo, they'd let him go. So let's have a look at this then. Carvalho and Sepp made sense. I thought Sepp made sense, but I thought we'd sign a replacement. Carvalho, I thought that made complete sense. I was happy with that. Bobby Clark, like my feelings on Clark were, I don't think he was ever really going to be good enough to get into the Liverpool team. I think he had good games for us last season, particularly in the Cups. But I didn't see anything in him that made me think that he was going to challenge for the first team, if I'm being completely honest. I'm saying we will find a defensive midfielder in January. They won't mess around this time. I am not so sure. I think that if Gravenberch starts to have a dip in his performances, then we will sign a defensive midfielder. But I think if Gravenberch continues to play well, they will see him as our defensive midfielder, and they will be willing to keep Endo as a backup to him until Bajcetic comes back, and then him and Bajcetic and Gravenberch will be the options going forward. That's what I think will happen. But then it's entirely possible that Gravenberch has a dip in his performances this season, and then that kind of spurs them into signing someone else. Although I'm not convinced with the fact that they're still talking about Zubimendi. I think the Zubimendi thing's done and dusted. I don't think he's coming to Liverpool. Oh yeah, 10 million, yeah. I agree with that. 10 million is very low. Which is also like quite shocking, because whenever Liverpool have sold off youngsters, they've always got really good money for them. Like even with Van der Berg, like no one thought we were going to sell him for as much. Like I think they were originally saying like 20 million, and I think it was PSV that were looking at him the whole time. And it was always like, he's clearly not valued at 20 million. We're not going to get that. And then suddenly we got 25 for him. And it's like, oh, wow, Liverpool are really good at selling youngsters. Awani went for a lot of money. Jordan Ibe went for a lot of money. Like, we're normally really good at selling off our young, talented players for big profit. But then Clark went for 10 million. And I found that really weird. Endo played 70 minutes for... Yes, Endo's the man. Yeah, I'll probably be streaming again tomorrow. Thanks for joining, David. It's been really appreciated. Thanks for dropping by, and I'll speak to you soon. 25 million. I definitely 100% didn't expect that. I honestly thought we weren't going to sell him. Either we weren't going to sell him, or we were going to get to like near the end of our near the end of the transfer window, and then suddenly we were going to panic that he hadn't sold, and then like accept like a £10 million or £15 million from PSV for him. But yeah, 25 was so. Endo. See, Endo and our fan base is like really weird. When we first signed him, everyone was like, "Oh no, why? This is a panic buy. Why have we gone for him?" I suppose even me to a certain extent, but I like to see how players play first before judging them. And if Klopp wanted him, I was like, you know, if Klopp wants him, he's obviously going to be a good player. So I was happy with like to let him have a chance. Then he played like well last season, and the fans were all behind him, like, "Oh yeah, it's a bargain. He's been fantastic." And then during this transfer window, we were linked with Zubamendi, and everyone's back to being all like, "Oh yeah, Endo's not good enough. He's rubbish. Oh, we need to get rid of him." And it's like, give the guy a chance. But yeah, like I personally like Endo, but I don't think he can do what Gravenberch can do in terms of the driving the ball forward, the passing, and that kind of thing. I think if we need someone to just sit in front of the centre backs and win the ball, then Endo's our guy there. But also Endo, he knows how to score a goal as well. But yeah, I'm not against Endo. I just think Endo probably doesn't suit the slot system. I think he's more of a Klopp player, if I'm being honest. But I expect to see Endo playing a bit more. I think he's going to be more of a backup, but we're going to need to have some rotation. There's a lot of games coming up. And our Champions League fixtures are they're a bit tough. But anyway, I think I am going to end the stream there. It's 10 o'clock for me, so I do need to go to bed because I've got work in the morning. Oh, wait, it doesn't suit for sure. It'll be interesting to see second choice. I think Endo will be the second choice. I think we'll probably see Morton. I don't know, actually. Morton could be the second choice. Because we were willing to sell both of them at one point, weren't we? I think Endo would be the second. I suppose it depends on what kind of game we're looking to play. Because obviously I think that Slot, like, he changes the roles of players for specific games. Like, if you look, for example, how Gravenberch played, he played different against Man United to how he played, for example, against Brentford. So I think depending on the situation, it could be Morton or Endo. But I think given that, has Morton been on, he hasn't even been on the bench for us this season so far, has he? I think that kind of suggests to me that Endo would be the second choice. And then Morton would be the backup. That's how I see it being. Which I'm not necessarily against. I think Endo's not that bad. Don't get me wrong, I think we could upgrade on him for sure. But I think if we need someone, if we're winning the game 1-0, we just need to bring someone on to shore us up defensively. I think Endo's a good option. So I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, anyway, I am going to end the stream now. unfortunately, I do have work in the morning, and my mornings include getting up early to walk the dog. But again, Kenyenke, thank you very much for joining, man. I really appreciate it. I'll probably stream again tomorrow, whilst this international window is boring the crap out of all of us football fans. But thanks again for joining. Really appreciated. I will also look to get some videos out soon as well. Unfortunately, with the international break, it's just that there's not really a great deal of news coming out except for the Salah contract stuff. And I think once I've covered the Salah contract once, like, I don't want to keep on doing it because it looks like I'm just trying to clickbait everybody. So unless like any like big news comes out, I'll do the live streams, and then I'll just do like a breakdown of all the stories that are coming out at that moment on the live stream. But again, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you tomorrow. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.